Graphs. Graphs can be confusing to many of us, but with the pressure of the IELTS exam, graphs can be pretty terrifying. And a lot of students struggle with graphs on the IELTS writing exam. But today, I'll show you a few steps you can use to analyze graphs a lot more confidently. In IELTS Writing Task 1, you'll often see graphs, charts, or tables. The directions will often say, the graph shows, the table shows, blank. This will be followed by these instructions. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting on the main features and making comparisons when relevant. So, what is the goal? Well, the goal is to summarize the key trends and the comparisons of your graph, of your chart, of your table. And we want to make sure we summarize these comparisons and trends very carefully and logically. Let's take a look at an example graph. We're going to break down some of the comparisons step by step and help us to decide what we want to write. Our first step of analyzing the graph is to figure out what is being measured. This is a key detail. Sometimes the graph is measuring population, percentages, income or money spent. Sometimes it is temperature. Sometimes it's how often something is used or consumed. And based on what's being measured, you want to figure out the unit of what is being measured. So if it's population, the unit could be millions or thousands. Percentages are pretty easy. The unit is the percentage. If it is money spent, money earned, it would be dollars or could be euros or pounds. There's almost always a time period. So you want to keep track of what units of time. Is it year by year? Is it month? Is it days? Maybe it goes across many years, like 2000 to 2020. And once you get those pieces of information, we want to see how these details change over time. These main trends, these main comparisons, are mainly going to be how the thing being measured, in how many units are being measured, how this changes over time. So keep that in mind. You'll likely be looking for the change of a certain amount of things in a certain amount of time. Let's take a look at this example. This bar graph shows the difference in internet usage between 2000 and 2020. What is being measured here? What are the units? What is the time period? And what are the main trends that you see? Now, let's look at the key comparisons of this information, and we'll think about how we can structure this in the essay itself. So, great information to report are the biggest increases or the biggest decreases. In our example graph, internet usage grew from 2000 to 2010, but the largest increase happened between 2010 and 2015. When you talk about an increase, you could say rise, grow, or climb when talking about whichever unit you're referring to. You could also use the verbs of surge or skyrocket. Be careful with those two verbs. They're very drastic and extreme examples. Only use them for large growth or large increase. If you're talking about a decrease, you can use the words drop, fall, decline, or more extreme words could be plummet or dip. And in some graphs, depending on the information, there might be periods where it's very small change or very slow growth. And if one of the trends of the graph stabilizes or doesn't change much, you can mention that in your essay. So in our example graph in 2020, internet usage reached near total usage, almost 100%. So that means there's little room to grow after that. That key trend is something you can include in your essay. Now, if some of the trends are stable or they don't change too much, you could say that they remain constant, plateau, or level off. Remember, for all of these terms, make sure to use them in the right spot. They won't always fit every context for every graph. So, referring to our example bar graph, let's look at some meaningful comparisons. And let's think about some other ways that we can refer to these trends. We could say that internet usage increased from 2010 to 2015. It was twice as high as before. So that phrasing, twice as high, twice as much, is a great example if it's doubled. You can also say internet usage doubled between 2010 and 2015. And as well, with that same time period, you can say that between 2010 and 2015, internet usage skyrocketed. That is a great term you could use to describe a very large increase. Another interesting trend from our graph, internet usage reached almost universal usage, close to 95%. You can also compare this near 100% usage to the very beginning in 2000, where it was only about 10%. What are some of the key trends that you noticed from this example bar graph? Take a moment to think about the trends you see. The introduction will paraphrase the question and describe what the graph is about. Your first sentence should be your topic sentence. Then, the next two sentences should state the comparisons that you find. Then, the body paragraphs will be the comparisons that you found. You're going to write one sentence to summarize the comparison, then support that comparison with details. And then, after your two body paragraphs, you will write your conclusion. And you can conclude by making a general statement about the comparisons you found. The conclusion does not need to be too long, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. To score high on the IELTS Writing Task 1, you want to focus on the clear structure, strong vocabulary, and most importantly, accurately describing the graph, chart, or table. Hopefully, this video helped you to do that. And if you want some more practice on charts, graphs, or tables, or a more in-depth example, just let me know in the comments. I would be more than happy to do that. And if you want more advanced IELTS practice, check the top link in the description. Thanks for watching.